We're watching a battle being waged on college campuses across the country. At issue, free speech, and the fallout means real-life consequences for thousands of people. It started in the wake of protests involving the war between Israel and Hamas. The Trump administration expanded its immigration crackdown to college campuses, seemingly targeting international students who speak out against Israeli aggression. Last month, ICE agents detained Mahmoud Khalil, a former Columbia University grad student. He helped lead protests there against the war in Gaza. He is a permanent legal resident, married to a U.S. citizen, but the Trump administration has pushed for his deportation, dubbing him, without evidence, a Hamas sympathizer. It doesn't end there. We are seeing a larger effort now to revoke visas for hundreds of international students here in the U.S. Many of them are losing their visas with little to no explanation. Advocates say the students who have most often been targeted have protested in support of Palestinians or have some sort of arrest record. Visa holders have always been at risk of having their visas revoked if they've committed a crime, but now the State Department is cracking down on even minor infractions, things like speeding tickets or even social media posts.
We are not going to be importing activists into the United States. They're here to study. They're here to go to class. They're not here to lead activist movements.
This extra scrutiny comes as the U.S. Department of Homeland Security pledged to check the social media pages of people applying for visas for any content the government deems anti-Semitic. While all of this is happening, local students are finding out quite suddenly they're being kicked out of the country. The president of Northwest Missouri State University in Maryville says the U.S. State Department is revoking the visas of at least 43 international students there, 5 current students, and 38 grads still in the U.S. for work. They're being asked to leave the country immediately. And we found out the federal government has also pulled the visas of 2 recent Park University grads. A spokesperson says the university is watching the situation, helping provide legal resources, and will support its students to the fullest extent possible. We've reached out to other schools in our area for comment, just to understand the scope of this issue. But so far, no one has agreed to talk about this on camera. We understand, though, there are still so many questions, so we wanted to bring back Michael Sharma Crawford to get to the heart of the matter. He's a local immigration attorney. It's been 3 months since you and I spoke, and a lot has happened since then with people being sent to El Salvador without due process. We've seen some ICE raids that we had talked about before, now these visas being revoked. We know that there are legal challenges against this in the works, but what are you telling your clients right now?
There's a couple of pieces that we're telling them. One is if the visa is revoked, and this is where it gets really kind of weird, is that if their visa is revoked, all that means is they can't travel. That's their ticket into the United States. That's not their status in the United States. So they could continue to go to school and work and do those things. But what's happening is not only is the visa being revoked, but their status in the SEVIS system, that system that tracks and monitors and is the system for coordinating students. That's what's being revoked, and that's where the hardship is occurring, and that's where the illegality is occurring. And by illegality, I mean there are 3 ways to remove students from a SEVIS system, and none of those are, we did an artificial intelligence check of your background, found a traffic ticket, and decided to take you out of SEVIS.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because it seems just from the outside looking in that there is extra scrutiny now for more minor issues that maybe did not put up red flags before.
Yeah, we've been interviewing, as you can imagine, our phones have been kind of busy, and we've been interviewing students, and other groups in the area have been interviewing students, and we're finding traffic tickets and minor infractions that have been dealt with. And to me, there's part of that is the community. You mentioned Maryville earlier. The community of Maryville, someone who's a student commits an infraction, whether it's the college public intoxication or whatever, the community deals with that. And there are ways that crimes can be dealt with that make it more severe and could then result in the removal of that student as you follow the law. But the communities are making choices to defer prosecution, to make sure that it's small enough that that student gets to stay, because they're making choices for those students to remain in the community. That choice is being taken away from them by this artificial intelligence, just everybody who has literally from traffic tickets forward to saying now we're going to make them all leave the United States. Not only is it contrary to the regulations, but I think it's also contrary to the intent of those educational communities.
I like what you said about the distinction of what a visa means, because we are seeing local schools try to help students in any way they can. We reached out to UMKC, which told me that they're advising international students not to travel outside of the U.S. right now. That has to be for that reason. And they're also offering academic support. But other than that, and maybe sending them to you and other immigration attorneys. What recourse does a school have right now? I have to imagine they're worried about funding.
I imagine they are. And again, we're back to that sense of community. Many of these smaller universities rely on that foreign student body to help them make those ends meet. And the foreign students rely on those small universities to give them a really tailored education. So there's a really symbiotic relationship. And I know that they're all worried about that being in play. And I think that the schools need to just hang on, because I think once the litigation, which is just going like a wildfire across the country, lots and lots of people are setting up litigation, getting ready to file, because it's contrary to regulation. You haven't given a lawful rationale for the removal of SEVIS. So folks are going to go into court, they're going to say, please do something about this. And then I think the schools can find some support in that litigation.
We heard from the U.S. Secretary of State a moment ago. We mentioned DHS is looking at social media now for visa holders.
Yes.
What issues arise from that? What does that say about free speech protections?
Well, I think it's pretty plain, isn't it? I mean, I get that we don't want to have terrorists and we don't want to have cells of folks, but people speaking their mind, people objecting to this very simple issue, to say, wait a minute, the community has spoken. Think about that. If somebody in the community speaks up and says, we want these students here, we want these people to be part of the fabric of our community, and you're telling us, no, we can't, we think you're out of line, federal government, that's going to draw scrutiny. Now suddenly we're an activist when we're just really expressing who we are as a community. And I think that's a very dangerous place to be.
All right, well, we'll continue to check in with you if that's all right. Michael
Anytime.
Sharma Crawford, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Wednesday marks the end of President Trump's first 100 days in office. KMBC 9 News and Heart of the Matter are watching the impact this administration is having, covering the issues that matter to you every step of the way.